Well, and I think too that in line with what you just said, it's in a lot of instances in my case, it was important for me to surrender to the help that was being offered, right? Like I had people around me that were offering to help me that knew more or less like what I was dealing with, but I wasn't prepared to let them help me because I was just so convinced that, I could do this without their assistance. And I really had to surrender, which again is still an action that I'm taking, right? Like I have to take that action, right? And so it's still being my own hero. Like I don't want to confuse people to say that like you have the capability to do everything yourself, because that may not be the case. But you do have the capability to decide what action needs to be taken and take the appropriate action. So in my case, it was letting somebody else make the phone call for me, to the treatment center and drive me to the treatment center and get me into a treatment program so that I could, begin this process of self-discovery and moving through, an alcohol-free life. And so, like it can look like a lot of different things to a lot of people. In your case, you were fairly alone. And so it really did have to be, Katie's here to help Katie,
Yeah, but then there came a shift where there was support. And so it became uncomfortable for me to realize that there is support out there. There's people that want to see you do well. And that was my uncomfortable, because I've walked such a life doing this practically alone. I'm building myself back alone, that being able to surrender, like you said, take the ego out of it and allow people to be there for you, because at the end of the day, community is so powerful. Having people around you is so powerful, because you'll start to realize that they're no different than you are, and that we're all on this journey together. And if we do want to show up as our best selves and not take this life for granted, we do need each other, and like to come together and be like, dude, I'm kind of struggling with this. Like, do you know anything about this? Be like, oh yes, I've been through that, here, and lay it out. It's like, this is what I did. This is what like helped me. Because when mentioned in the story of the abuse, that I was like, hopefully one day I'll be able to help somebody with the same pain. But in order to do that, you have to do the internal work. You have to build yourself up so you can live that life of going all in. If you avoid that internal work, then you're just going to mosey all through life with this huge weight. Still struggling with.
Yeah, that's great. And one thing I heard you say before we started rolling is that you have to like turn and face the storm, right?